Welcome to the Donna Salazar design stop of the Handmade Holidays blog hop. I'm Donna Salazar. I'm going to be sharing with you over the next few days different tips and techniques for making this project. And I'll talk about dyes and spritz and bling and fibers and all kinds of fun stuff. So each day of the hop, come back and you'll see a little bit more or a few more techniques. And today we're going to start with doing the dyes and working with the bling. Okay, first I'll talk about the base. This is my corrugated board from Zutter, and I use the grand scallop oval dies from Spellbinders to die cut both the corrugated board and some artistic paper. Then after I cut out the same size in the artistic paper I used, because these are they're nesting dies, I just used that to cut out the center, and so I ended up with the frame. And so that's how I did the base. You'll also want to have a 5x7 piece of the corrugated board, and you're going to just cut through a little bit of the corrugated board because this is going to be the stand that goes on the back. Okay, and after that, this is the calendar that is in the background back here. And this is my artistic paper from GCD Studios, and you can see that there are images on here that coordinate with Spellbinder dies. These are the fancy tags from Spellbinder dies. This also works with the Zutter Dream Cuts, so you can easily cut it, but there's also extra space here on the side so that you could make a calendar, and there's enough room for the binding here on the side. So what I did is I just cut out this piece here. I didn't need the extra portion there. And after I cut it out, I also cut around the top portion of that, that little square, the 6x6 square. Okay, and then I also have, this is from my Antiquities 8x8 paper pad, and you can see that this image right here also coordinates with the artistic paper. So I cut this out with the fancy tags, and then Want to Scrap also makes bling that coordinates with the fancy tags. So I put the bling on top of my die cut paper from the Antiquities, and then I took this piece and I adhered that with foam squares on top of the calendar, just like that. And so it gave this up here. Another thing that I wanted to share with about the bling from Want to Scrap, I used the stars on here because I wanted to highlight Christmas down here in the corner. But I wanted to also carry the design around with this silver bling, you know, making the whole thing match. So this star over here, I'm what I call a kind of a pusher. I move stuff around until I like it before I adhere anything down. So what makes it easy for me to do that with the bling is if I take the stars and I actually cut them apart and leave them on the backing. So the small one was really easy to cut apart, but when you get to these larger two, they're a little bit closer. So I just did a quick little slice down here and then just cut those apart as well. And I ended up with a real thin little piece. This is actually from the inside, but I saved it because I'll probably use this for something else. I don't throw anything away. It all goes into my little jar over here. I've got all my pre-made embellishments over here in my little jar. Makes projects go a lot faster. So this is the way that the stars come, and the stars ended up here in the corner and up here on this side. And I also die cut the alphas out of my corrugated board as well, and this is using my Donna's alphas. After I got the little calendar cut out, then I used my Distress It All just on these three sides. And then for this area up here where I couldn't reach it, I just kind of used my nail. It's not the same kind of a look, and it's not good for your nails, but it gets into the hard to reach area. And then the last thing that I did was used my Mix'd Media Inks, and I used truffle, but you could also use leather or even honey, which is the light color. And then I just kind of ran along the sides just to highlight the edges. And a little bit of this ink goes a very long way. It's a very juicy ink. You can even emboss with this, which is what I'm going to show you next. So there you have it. So that's the background for the calendar, and then you just adhere this to that. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to show is making the cardboard kind of the shabby chic. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's the little details, I think, that make the project. So all I did for that was used my Jasmine Mix'd Media ink. And I also wanted to mention that there are new re-inkers for it. And I use Jasmine a lot because I like to make things look shabby chic. And because I really want to make this background juicy, I'll just add a little bit of it to the pad. And then when you are going to apply the ink right onto the project, you don't want to rub because it is foam and it'll wear out your pad really fast. So just kind of pat. Just pat it around as you go. All the way around the edges. So you do want it to be pretty juicy. You can do a second layer if you like. And then just blend. And even though I have blended this, it's still wet enough for me to come back and use my embossing powder on it. And this is the new Mix'd Media Inx embossing powder that matches all 8 colors of the Mix'd Media Inx. Okay, then all you have to do is just heat set this. And tomorrow I'll pick up from there and we'll learn some new tips and techniques. Thanks for watching. Bye.